Hello and welcome to episode 19 of Missle Industries Ford Falcon 351 Crusty Wagon Project. Now, picking up from where I left off last week, I have a giant hole in the floor I need to weld up. Now, if you'd stayed around for the post credits on last week's video, you would have seen the hole I began to cut, and as of now, it's much worse. So, let's have a look. And there is what I have cut out so far. So couple that with the repair I need to do on the outside. It certainly looks like I have quite a job ahead of me. I've cleaned it all up and I have ground away the edges because I'm just going to cut a plate, or maybe several plates, shape it into position and then weld them in piece by piece. I'm probably going to weld a plate onto here and then fashion a radius here for the next plate and make a plate that will cover this whole piece, and the radius can butt into that and I'll weld it all together. Hopefully that works. That's what I'm thinking at this stage. Since it's autumn now, it's not too bad in this garage. Even on the end of the heat gun it wasn't too unpleasant, so that's good news. I should really pull finger and get this car sorted out so I can drive it somewhere eventually. Well, I did grab myself a bigger gas bottle during the week. I was going to get a G-size gas bottle, but those bottles are 90 kilos. I didn't fancy my chances of getting that from the back of my ute into the garage without crushing my fingers or toes, so I went for the more sensible E-size gas bottle, which has 2.5 times as much gas as my little D-size bottle, which is on the dregs of its last gasp. So theoretically I should have plenty of gas for this weekend shenanigans. And yes, I will be deploying this washing machine lid to fix the floor because it's available, and if it's under the carpet no one will ever know except for you and me. That's fine. Probably going to be a good idea to make up another template. Just find that rice bubble box that I put on here somewhere. So step one of this process, I'm going to use this piece of rice bubble packet as a template to cut a piece of sheet metal that will fit into this gap here, and give me a bit of a lip to work with to put that patch on the floor. And yes, I'll be using that lid there. Step 2, cut your piece of sheet metal out and prep it to weld it into the gap. I've done the surface prep. I'm going to drill some holes in that sheet metal that's going on the outside so I can plug weld it into this, and this is just going to go up into here like so, and I'm going to tack weld that in around there and then build the rest of the floor in around it. So that inner piece of metal has been tacked in. That's probably about as welded as it's going to get because it's in place now, and it will form the structure for the rest of the repair. While I'm at it, I'm going to tack this in, hammer it into place and see if I can plug weld it into that existing piece of metal in there to form part of the structure for this repair. And there is the outside repair welded in. Gave myself a bit of a fright because as I welded the seam along here, smoke started to pour out of the vents inside the car, and as it turned out I pulled the speaker out of here, and inside the speaker cavity was full of foam and bits and bobs that had just started to smoulder because the rats had filled the cavity with pieces of foam nesting material. So behind the speaker was full of rat poo and flammable nesting material. So whoops. But fortunately it didn't take hold, and as a consequence of that I carefully welded up the rest of it, keeping a very close eye on smoke coming out. What I need to do now is cut out this bit here and start shaping it up to fit in my hole in the floor. Not quite sure how I'm going to get the contour between the A-pillar and the floor, but I'll work on that. There is a very strong temptation to trim that up and then hammer it in until it works. Tacking it where necessary, plug welding it where necessary, and then wrapping this project up. Because I could trim that down so it's fitting around the outside of the hole, tack it in a few critical places, and then pretty much hammer everything else into alignment until it all works. I can hammer in those creases in the firewall, and I can hammer that radius there so it's a bit more snug, and then tack it and be done with it. I should probably make sure it clears the crusty kick panel before I get carried away committing to this. And it does! Oh, it's like factory. Oh, get back up there. There we go. This will totally work. Getting closer. And it's done. A little bit of hammering to help the contour. The kick panel still fits. At least I think it does. It still fits. For the time being, that will do. I will leave that as it is before I fully commit to sealing it and painting it or sealing it. So that is satisfactory for the time being. I have painted the outside parts. I haven't bothered to finish or clean any of that because it just needs not to rust. One last thing before I do the summary on this video. Bye bye rust. Summary time for episode 19 of Missle Industries' Crusty Wagon Project. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this section here is taken care of. I've sufficiently removed rust and welded in pieces of patch panel to satisfy my low standard. And next week we'll move on to that door. Now I've run out of washing machine lids, so I'm going to have to go back to cutting up that guard over there, and I'm hoping the radius of the guard inverted suits the radius of the lower door skin, but we'll see how we go. Look at the state of this door. Oof. You can see why they rust, because this was just raw metal sandwiched together. What I think I might do is take that section out there and just start from scratch. I might even cut it all the way up there and just cut out a big chunk of door, or cut out a big chunk of front guard and see how it goes. I'm going to have to do a lot of repair work on the inside of this door frame too, because those corners are toast. But I suspect there's a little bit of a pitting there. I suspect this will all be rusty all the way along here, and it'll only be a matter of time before it pops out along here if I don't cut it all open and have a look and prep it all.